And welcome everybody to a special edition of Todd Talks. I'm joined today by the two founders of Symmetry Financial Group of Quility and many other adventures along the way. And I've asked them for a very special task today that they're not even prepared for.
Uh-oh. That's when we do our best work.
We're going to create a theme tune for Todd Talks.
Oh man.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
We need a little ditty. You guys are pretty
Brandon,
good
that's
at
your
jingles.
specialty, man.
Believe it or not, it's just Spivey, something like that.
I like it.
Believe it or not, Todd's talking on air.
How
I
about
never thought he could be so.
I'm just a talking, Todd talking.
Talking about people.
They keep us saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, on with that now. We're going to talk today about conference coming up in Denver at the Belco Theater. Fired up for that. So before we get into the upcoming event that we've got in August, guys, let's go back a little bit. Tell me about the very first conference that Symmetry Financial Group ever put on. Tell me a fun memory that you guys like to look back and laugh on these days.
There's a lot to laugh about. I was going to say, I don't know that there were many fun memories. They're fun now, maybe.
Yeah. That first one was a doozy.
It was. We were planning for 200 and probably 80 showed up. Yeah. And I specifically remember the one thing that stands out to me the most is it was a nice enough Marriott. So this should not have been happening. It was in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I think it was at the Atlanta airport. And there was this terrible smell right outside the conference room where the bathrooms were because there was like a leak or something and it just smelled like urine. And that was the worst way to ever start a conference in a company, I think.
Well, when was it? We started the company in October of 2009, and this conference would have been...
It would have been either the fall of 10 or the winter of 11. It may have been the winter of 11.
So we went into it expecting a couple hundred, and so we had chairs set up for a couple hundred, That was our first mistake because like 84 people showed up.
Yeah.
And so, our expectations were high and we were kind of let down and, it's kind of mentally a little hard to get over that. But,
we rallied though.
We rallied. We
had to give each other a pep talk, I think.
We did. I certainly needed a pep talk. I was a little let down by the attendance, but, we also were, at that time, we would show up and do everything. Brandon and I were load in, load out. We were in the conference room setting up the banners. Yeah. Using the scaffolding.
We had to use that machinery. What was it called that raises you all the way up to the ceiling?
Yeah, we took bootstrapping it to a whole new level.
Yeah, man, we were bucketing up to the top.
This is Birdie, by the way. I don't know if we've acknowledged that.
Yeah, how did you end up with Birdie's head? I get the ass end of Birdie down here. I don't know. I appreciate that.
So talking about how many people that were participating in leading up to conference and getting all the content ready to set up, how many employees would you say Symmetry had at that time?
Well, if you count Meredith and Sarah, there would have been the two of us, those two. Pope was there, although I don't know that Pope was setting it up. I think he came in maybe a little later.
Yeah.
Pam was there. Yeah. And then we hired...
Crystal, maybe?
Crystal may have been there. Glenn was there.
Yeah.
Was he a contractor or was he an employee?
I think he was just a
subcontractor
for the conferences. Yeah. So it wasn't many.
It
was 5 or 6 type thing, and and Brandon and I were still out in the field as well at that time. And so, but we would get a little distracted. I do remember some of the highlights for me and you is like we would find that tape ball. Ooh. Remember we created a game called tape ball?
Tape ball, yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the conference room's kind of getting torn down. There's tape all over the floor where they would tape down the wires, and we would roll that up and
peg each other with
it.
We're like a bunch
we could stick it to
teenage
against
brothers,
the wall, that kind of thing.
Until finally, I think that may have been subconsciously our way of getting out of doing the work because they would get so frustrated with us. They'd kick us out of the room.
So we'd create a game, tape ball.
Is there anything in our contract for Denver that prevents us from playing Tape ball, you think?
we
Such
can.
a-
Oh no, we're gonna have to check with JB on that. I hope not. We would have redlined that sucker.
Man, there were some great
Yes,
memories too. Remember the carpet skating
Yes.
ceremony we had? We had like two different conferences where we had the carpet skates.
Yep.
Somebody brought some little
Yeah.
things you'd put on your feet and you could run and
Worked
slide on the carpet.
exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Unless you're Brian Pope, who tore, at least pulled both hammies, and I think tore one. And that was the
He was
first
Carpet
time.
skating?
He was black
Carpet
and blue
skating.
carpet
It was
skating.
just hamstrings were just complete black and
Yeah.
blue.
What is it
He's
about
had
you
some-
guys and
He's had some rough conferences.
these
Pope has.
contests you guys play when we all get together typically lead. I mean, we've got some pretty serious injuries coming out of
I don't know what it-
battle
I don't know what it is.
dodgeball and
I don't know what it is.
carpet skating.
Yeah, I think we had a heart attack last dodgeball tournament. That made us rethink some things.
We now officially have a Quilly sponsored Uno tournament, so
Yeah. Sell
get too
things
many
down a little
lawyers
bit.
involved. But let's fast forward now. So thinking about first conference and just a handful of people on deck to chip in. So what all's gone into planning for Denver? How many people are involved, would you say, at this point? And kind of what can we expect from the venue versus the original Marriott with maybe 80 people in the crowd?
Well, you could easily fit the entire hotel into the lobby of the Denver Conference Center, that first Marriott. We were talking about this just yesterday as we were doing some conference meetings that, gosh, we have probably a dozen people that we're working with that aren't even with the company, a dozen different companies working with the company to set up things like the after party, the intros, there's so many things that kind of go into it now, plus all hands on deck. There's a whole events team, and still, kind of Pam and Rummy's baby for sure, but it's certainly crazy. You got sponsors coming in, you've got different types of entertainment that we just, probably looking back at 2011, had no idea that it would turn into this. So, hopefully we'll be able to look out and see 5,000 of our favorite people
Yep.
with maybe a little overflow, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a good time.
We always want to make the conference special, and for everyone, ourselves included. Like, there's nothing more gratifying than, getting done with a conference and looking back on it and seeing everything just come together the way it does, and see the memories that are created there, the connections that are created, the impact that's created. It's just it's something that we put a lot of value in. And we can look back at our conferences too, and our last conference was probably $750,000 of net cost. That's after you guys, the agents, pay their ticket cost. That's kind of a net cost that we invest in this conference, and we do that because we know there's a return on the end of that investment. But it's about creating an experience and creating something that you leave there and you don't forget, something that lasts and sticks with you. And you can go back to so many of our agents and they can all think about their first conference. And that conference being the moment where they made a decision to plant their flag in the ground and say, all right, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And you just can't put a value on that decision. That's why these conferences are so important.
Yeah, well said. That's what it's all about, is getting yourself in a position to kind of see the big picture and feel things, have this emotional experience, because that's what, like you're saying, man, that's how you get committed. That's how you are actually willing to go back home and do the work, because there's clarity in what you want and the direction that that you want to go.
Yeah.
We talk a lot too about our core values and the importance of the association and choosing who that is you're doing this business with. Talk to us a little bit about the opportunity you have in Denver to really lean into the association in the Cornerstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many great people that you can look at, and maybe you have a similar background, or maybe it's completely different, but you look at them and you say, I want to do it like this person did it. Some people you may look at and say, if that person did it, I think I can definitely do it.
There's always those examples.
There's always that too.
Yeah.
But, I think it's what a gift to, be able to surround yourself with, 200 agency owners plus, all the directs, all the great top producers, and that are doing a business that is a business of duplication. So all you have to do to really be good at it is to do the things that the successful people are doing it. You do it authentically, so that you're not being a phony. I mean, you kind of create this job or this business around your personality or who you are, what you want it to be, but you have so many opportunities to hang out with people that are where you want to be. It's a gift.
Yeah, and when you're 1099, entrepreneur, and you're kind of on your own, anyone in that position, it's a tough thing because you don't have a social connection. A lot of times you can kind of end up on an island. And in other words, we have some friends that are not in the insurance business that own their own company, and they always would comment to me like how much they kind of envy what we have, where you're kind of an entrepreneur, but you have this large social connection with a bunch of people that are, kind of going through the same battle as you. They're going through the same wins. They're experiencing the same thing. And to be able to, as much as possible, plug into that is something that, you shouldn't take for granted. You should want to do that as much as possible. That's very energizing. There's zero chance I would be in this industry if it weren't for the connection aspect of what we have. Like
Absolutely.
It's
one of the most important pieces of what we do. I think to really be able to get there and experience that piece of it with the culture piece, and I think it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself and for your business.
So it's about the content that you're going to get at conference, but so much of that content is not during the general session. It's not during the breakouts. It's just in the hallway.
It's such a good point. It's why it's so important, I think, to stay where the action is too.
Yeah.
I made a mistake kind of early on going to a conference of staying off site somewhere because, I felt like I needed to. It was a budget situation, and, I missed a lot to that because for the exact reasons that you're saying, it's like a lot of the action's happening after conference at the hotel, in the lobby there. And there's been some funny action along the years with some of that stuff.
Don't miss the
too.
funny. Don't miss that funny stuff.
Ziller and Spildon are having some real action.
That's right.
When there were some guys trying to start some trouble.
That was one of my
Great
first
memories.
events. I remember walking in not long after some of that.
Yeah.
Is that in Raleigh?
Yeah,
It was in Raleigh.
It was in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But you talked about, Casey, too, some of the breakouts, too. And we talk about
Yeah.
the association, getting to hear from others that have paved a path before you that might have the type of success that you're striving for here. So talk about the specific opportunity that you have to dive into such breakouts and learn from some of the very best at how to do 40K in a month and how to make sure that you're tracking your activities and your ROI in your business, like the value of being able to come learn from some of the very best.
Well, that's it, man. You have the best of the best all in Denver, all in the same spot, and I think what I always love about the breakouts is, you get the energy and the motivation from the general session. You come into that breakout ready to dig in, ready to learn, like open, and that openness I think is important. It's an important kind of way to kind of approach the breakout, really approach the conference. But to come into that breakout and have the best of the best up there, rolling their sleeves up. It's hard to do on the general stage, on the big stage, and kind of dig in and roll up the sleeves. But in a breakout session, in a smaller group, you can have some unbelievable content. That's where the most meaty part of the day is going to be in the breakouts.
And I know that we've got so much going on in the company. I see the investment that you both have made, both in financials and also your time, very importantly, along with Pope, and the theme of the conference being Reimagine. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect, what is going to be the centralized theme to the conference. What does Reimagine mean to you guys? How do we end up on that? And what can we kind of expect?
Oh man, we can't talk too much about it, but I think you can expect it to be unlike any event that we ever had. We've literally tried to reimagine every aspect of a conference, and I think the theater setting is going to make for something really, really special, but it's going to be very different than anything we've done.
Yeah, and it's the theme is, I think you're going to experience a different conference, but that's for a reason, because the industry is different. You know, everything has changed so much since COVID especially, and so much opportunity to innovate and transform is on the table, which is what we're, focused on so much right now. How do we make the lives of the agent better? And how do we evolve the agent in the process as well? Like, as the industry changed, the products are changing, the leads are changing. How do we actually change the agents? How do we change us? And that's what the conference is about. And so not only are you going to get, a glimpse at what we mean by a future in the industry reimagined, you're going to get a glimpse at what it means to reimagine your own personal abilities in the insurance industry. How do you kind of work with the new tools and the new technology and the new products coming? And then overall, what does that mean for me in 5 years? What does that mean for me in 2 years?
What does that mean for my day-to-day?
Exactly, yeah.
Now, there's so many things that people can begin to implement. We've always talked so much about, it's not just about money, it's about time. And I think a lot of the things that we're going to be really talking about and rolling out and teaching how to utilize is that aspect of it. How do you become so much more profitable in such a less amount of time?
We want agents, we want everyone at the conference, staff, the agents, everyone, to leave there a little shooken up, in a very good way.
Shook, that's what
Shook.
we call it. Be shook.
Right?
Shimmy.
Like, you just leave there. You just leave there with
Make yourself comfortable here.
You leave there with, your vision expanded in a very big way as to what life could look like for you. Because we're seeing so many people getting that, and we're seeing, so much more opportunity for so many others in our company to get the same thing. Especially now, it's going to be accelerated with all of this innovation. We're getting ready to go through what we believe is going to be the largest land grab in this industry in our space over the next 12 to 24 months. So everybody's got to buckle up and be ready for it.
So with everything going on with conference, everything you just talked about being reimagined, if I'm out there watching right now and I'm considering who should I be bringing with me to this conference? Is it people interested in the insurance business? Is it people already licensed? Is it people that are not even in the business right now? Like, who all should I be looking to bring with me, and the importance of doing so?
Everybody.
I was going to say yes. Everybody. Most people don't know that they want to be a part of the insurance business or industry until they are. And there's so many examples of people that showed up to a conference that, were either a spouse or partner, a supportive friend, a family member, a staff person. Amy Fine was my nanny at the time. Now she runs a monster agency. So I don't think very many people begin thinking that they're going to want to go into the insurance business, but they do. And we're not necessarily anything like the traditional insurance business. So, but the question of how important is it to get people there, I think that just depends on what you want out of the business. If you like the idea of making, passive income, $4,000 or $5,000 a month, then you should get 10 to 12, 15 people there with you. If you like the idea of making more, then bring more people with you. But it's a very concrete formula. Like, we know that for every 10 people that you get there, you should be able to generate about a $50,000 agency, assuming that you get, a good group of people there with you, right? But for some people, they're like, I don't have any interest in that. They generally say that, and then they leave conference thinking, dang it, I wish I'd brought 10 or 12 people with me. Yep. So I think it's really important, especially if you want to build and you like the idea of creating passive income and more time for yourself. It's one of the most important things you can do.
And I think you mentioned two important kind of types of people that you would want there. Again, you can't overestimate the value of that spouse or partner being there. Again, zero chance I'd be in this business if Sarah had not gone to our first conference. It's just being able to have someone in the business that, and it doesn't mean that they have to be a completely active role. It doesn't mean that they come home and they're helping you in every aspect of the business. Even just someone that gets it, that just you can come home to after a hard day, or after a good day, and you can kind of celebrate the wins and kind of lick your wounds on the hard, tough days, and have somebody that understands that. Man, that's invaluable. And then I think the other group of people that you would want is those brand new ones that maybe don't even have their license yet. We get stories upon stories all the time coming out of a conference of someone saying, I didn't even have my license, and I was sitting in that room, and I came out of there and it was the absolute best head start I could have ever got.
Absolutely.
Is to get that level of energy and that commitment, right off the bat.
Yeah, many of them don't think that they can afford to get there, that they're not ready to be there, and I think that's our job as leaders and people of influence, is to get them there. Because when you believe, like we do, that your life can be changed in an event like this, then you want to do everything you can to get people there so that they can go through that.
Yep.
Well, you guys heard it here first, guys, and we're so excited about Denver coming up, and we cannot wait to see everybody at the Belco Theater August 17th through 19th. Make sure you're on HQ and getting those tickets assigned to all of your agents that are coming. Make sure you reserve your spot in the Belco Theater. And you two, let me know. Expect y'all to come up with some more theme songs for
We'll
Todd
work on it.
Talks.
Work on that today.
Try to have you guys back here.
Katie, will you clear our calendars? We've got
Rest of
some
the day.
pretty important work we need to do.
So grateful for you two to spend some time with me today. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do to make all
Thank
of our
you, buddy.
lives out there so much
Thank
better.
you, man.
Appreciate you greatly, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode.
See you in Denver.